We are just in front of the course walk for the metre 10 class at the moment, but I'm lucky enough to be joined by Marcia from Zagro, and they of course are one of the very kind sponsors of the Yalambi show here this weekend. So Marcia, can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to have a quick chat while we're doing the course change here in the main ring. Zagro Australia are a family-run business here in WA, and we manufacture all of our products here in Perth, and they're obviously manufactured for our Australian conditions. So we've got a new range of really concentrated supplements. There's electrolytes, biotin, amino acids, and there's one thing we've really focused on with our vet and our nutritionist is to have a really concentrated product. So there's no fillers, no sugar, no extras, and it's being received really, really well.
Wonderful, and I know that you are very proud that your company and your products are very tailored towards our Australian environment. It's very hot, and you know, being an athlete myself, and of course all of these riders are athletes as well as our equine athletes. They need a little bit of help sometimes with the supplementation and everything. So that's wonderful that it's really tailored towards the weather.
Absolutely, and also just with the stresses of travelling the horses to an event. We've got riders here who've come from Esperance, from Albany, obviously from the Perth metro area, from Geraldton. So some of those horses have been on trucks and floats for many hours getting here. It's a strange environment. It's noisy. There's a lot of activity. So we want to make sure that the horse can sustain the effort over the weekend. And we've got a couple of new products, one in particular called Nil Stress. Very, very concentrated electrolyte with amino acids. And that is an absolute no-brainer for an event like this. So not just with the heat, but that stress, and we need to have the vitamin E and all of those things helping the horse do his best effort and get home safely.
For sure. I think that is something that people don't really understand, that quite the magnitude that takes on the horse, travelling, that is I'm talking about. And as you said, a few people have come from Esperance, and even from the Perth metro area in the truck, it's around 3-4 hours journey, and that really can knock around the horses a little bit. So it's wonderful to have such supplementation to just ensure that is kind of compensated for.
And most riders and owners they're pretty spot on to it, but every now and again you might need some extra help. So we've brought a range of our products up here to show people, and more than welcome to come and have a chat with me. And we're developing more and more products. So the main thing we're trying to focus on is to have no added extras in there, that it is just as much of the vitamins and all of those critical things. So it's a little bit different to some of the products that we see out on the market. But for those horses that have got sensitive tummies, are a little bit reactive to sugar, and some people are on very low sugar diets, we don't want to have extra fillers in those supplements. So we've taken all of that out. So we're really proud of them. And when I approached Rory to have a trade stand here, I was just delighted that we could find some room and we could bring our products, and it's just the most amazing event. So big smile on my face because I love coming to this event, and I've got my own horse running here this weekend with one of our riders, and one of our sponsored riders has just placed in the main ring in the first class. So we're just delighted to be here.
We are very, very lucky to have you on board, and I love that you talk that your products have no additives, nothing like that. Pretty much, excuse the French, but cut the crap, and you only put what you need to put in, and that as a rider and as a horse owner, that's what you look for. You don't want to look for something that has an ingredients list that's as long as the package. You just want the good stuff, and that's what your company provides. So thank you so much for being on board.
Thank you as well, and look, thank you to all of the team for the live streaming. For the most magnificent coverage, and for sponsors like us. This is absolutely critical, and we are having the most marvellous time, and we encourage anyone who wants to get involved in these events to come along and put your trade stand here and be a part of it, because wherever we are in the world, and we've got people watching us from the UK and the US, and we've got friends all over Australia and New Zealand watching events like Yalambi. The modern technology is just fantastic. So as a sponsor, we think it's brilliant. As a rider, I love it. And as a spectator, it's just fantastic.
That's for sure. The live streaming, and I know that Darren Darren's quite humble, but it's certainly revolutionised our sport. And I think it's important to note that I think a lot of the people think sponsors or trade stands more so is just gear and apparel and everything like that. But to have a nutritional standpoint and to have you guys having a stall here this weekend is so wonderful. So if you're lucky enough to be here at Yalambi, please go and check out Zagro. And it's been wonderful chatting to you. So thank you.
Now, Marcia, before you go, I do have a question. And by the way, I'm not humble. I'm far from humble, as you both well know. Hey, with these additives, I've always kind of sort of fancied making my own additive. Just get some corn flour and salt and just knock it up and call it something German and charge a fortune. And I know that you can't actually get away with it, but I had thought about it. Zagro, very, very big company, and they come with... you know, they're no sort of fly-by-night. They've been around a long time, haven't they? And they do have the results on the board.
Look, absolutely, Daryl. And we've, you know, the company, we have products across all of animal health, in not just equine, but cattle, sheep, poultry, and we have a lab, Pacific Labs, that we own. So all of our nutritional products have to go through those labs. All of the data is collated. To get a new product into the vet market or to the supplement market takes about 3 to 5 years. And you're not allowed to change anything on the label without it going back through the APVMA. And all of those registrations are managed and catalogued. And we're not allowed to change anything in the formulation once it's been approved. We have to go back through the whole reformulation again if we want to change anything or have a new claim. So it is very involved and it is time consuming, and it's that sort of research and development that the big companies, that's their raison d'etre. And the fantastic thing is that we as riders get the results of that work. But it's a big undertaking to bring a range of any kind of supplement or nutritional product to the market. It has to be safe, it has to be able to be replicated, and at any time we can trace back the batches that we've made and all of those sorts of things to the raw ingredients. So it's a fairly intense but very rewarding experience. So I'm so thrilled that we've got an equine range. It's taken a little while, but we've got one and it's a ripper.
That's for sure. Thank you for that question, Darren. I on that point, having studied a little bit of nutrition myself, and not necessarily in equine, but just in people and everything, and I don't think anyone understands unless you go and research it or you are involved in it. Do you realise all of the processes, the amount of time that takes to get a product to market, to even start a product? It's got to go through so many regulations, rules, everything, which is wonderful. But of course, I think that just puts credit to you guys of the amazing work that you do, and to be a family-run business as well. It just is a huge nod to you guys at the great work that you do. So thank you.
It's our pleasure, and the equine side of the things, it's my passion, and people who've known me will be laughing, I'm sure, quite cheerfully. But look, it's a really good range, and we've got our horses on some of the products now, and what I really like is that I don't need to use very much. They're actually really economical, but I know they're concentrated. So if we ever have an issue, I can quite happily say to the vet, this is what the horse is getting. We're not muddying the waters with different sorts of things that may compromise a diagnosis or a treatment if there is something else going on. And the sorts of things we're making, I really see as an adjunct to some of the things we'll see with ulcers in horses, those sorts of things. You know, you want to come back and say, am I getting that base level of nutrition right? And the other area to really look at is those that are breeding, and we're here at a breeding farm at Yalambi, and they've got the most beautiful horses and lovely stock. But having that mare well managed early on in the pregnancy, that she's on what we call a rising plane of nutrition, that she can then feed that foal, and in those first critical few weeks that the foal is drinking from mum, that she is adequately supported so that that foal can have a good start. And some of the things that foals need are stored by mum, and she can get depleted pretty quickly. So again, you know, you do your research, talk to your vet, and have a plan, especially for those that are getting involved in breeding. And you need to start early to make sure that she's in good order to have that foal.
Now, Marcia, on a personal note, your big show, Priory Park, the big dressage show that you run, last year, huge success. Now, the thing I need, we're going to be live streaming it, so I will be there in person. The thing I need to know, do you have the big sponsor, the champagne sponsor again?
We most certainly do. Our friends at Veuve Clicquot are pretty chuffed with the last one, and they've come back on board, and we've got some other really lovely new sponsors as well, and I'm looking forward to a great weekend, and again, we'll have people come from the country. We've already got the Geraldton Raiders booking themselves in, so yeah, watch out, Perth Riders. Those Geraldton girls are coming. So
yeah,
and it's,
what I loved about that show last year is that we started early, and then when because it's in January, and when it got hot, we stopped and we had a break and clearly had some champagne, and then we started again when it cooled down, and so good for the horses and the riders.
Absolutely, and you know we run that event in a hot part of the year in Australia, and for those that were watching it from overseas, they were just stunned. You know, they can't believe that we're riding, because we were still in the real throes of COVID, especially in the UK last January. So people who would have been normally out competing in the UK and Europe were finding it really tough. So the comments that we had from the overseas people watching that live stream was just how lucky we were, and it was such beautiful weather. But we did the right thing. We split the program. We had a good break in the middle of the day, gave everyone a rest, and came back in the afternoon. So this year we're adding in a fashion parade in the mid-morning, along with a Veuve high tea, and that'll be on the bar on the grass. So we've got some other things happening at that event as well. And no, we're just making it a little bit bigger and a little bit better, but always about having fun and doing something a bit different in the summer when we don't have a lot of other competitions. So
well, I think
looking forward to it.
It has to be the poshest unofficial event in Australia, doesn't it? And that's what really appeals to me. And unofficial dressage, and all of the riders just really sort of, you know, came to the fore and raised their game and give it. You know, they're on the live stream. They've got nowhere to hide, but everyone did their best, and it was just such good fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was. And the one comments that really touched me were there was some mums and aunties watching in New Zealand, especially. There was a couple of family members, and they had me in tears. Their comments, they were so pleased to see their daughter ride. It's upsetting me now. So it just shows you the breadth and the reach of a format like this. And so, you know, with competitions like this here at Yalambi, it's the most beautiful place and showcasing the best horses. So for Zagro to be a part of this, we're so thrilled. We couldn't be more happy.
Well, I think you should be very proud of yourself and also of your brand. It's wonderful to have you on board, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Be sure to go and check out the Zagro stall if you're here at Yalambi, and it was great speaking to you. Thank you.